all, the Nürburgring. I come to Nürburgring, I think, for 55 years or so. When I was a little boy, my dad, he drive to Nürburgring 1 or 2 times in a year to watch racing, and my 2 older brothers and me, we were always in the car. And this is how I got into all this racing stuff here. And my father, he died very early, so my oldest brother then already had driving license, so I was washing his cars for weeks. Then he takes me to the Nürburgring, and I stopped playing soccer because my coach always was complaining when there was a race in Nürburgring where my brother would go, I couldn't play in the soccer.
Right.
And then with 17 I had to start to build my own car, so then I stopped soccer anyway. And as soon as I had my car, Volkswagen Beetle, the first driving on the weekend was of course to Nürburgring. And later I was racing here. I also raced 24 hours once, but only 20 hours, and then the crankshaft was history.
What car was it?
You won't know that car. Simca Rally 3, a little French box.
Yeah.
Very small. A rear motor, rear wheel drive, 120 horses.
Right.
At that time, the cheapest horsepower for the money. So it was almost like cup racing.
Yeah.
But I was racing in sprint racing. We had like 15 or 20 of those cars, and it was almost like one-make racing. But with such a car, with my buddy's car, then we drove here, and yeah, it was fun.
So you've got a long history here, and you have a long history here with other brands as well. When you were here with other brands, they had prior history at the Nürburgring as well. With Hyundai, you're kind of breaking new ground here. What's it like, sort of being on the leading edge of a motorsports program that's growing into? I saw a 7-year-old kid wearing an N shirt yesterday. Well, what's it like being on the leading edge of helping give birth to that motorsports program?
Yeah, I think we give a lot of excitement to many newcomers to motorsport. I think that's a good part of N, and this is also why everybody is so happy that we bring new people to motorsports, to Nürburgring with N. And so this I've been through this, of course, before. And we already had a history here in Nürburgring. One German dealer, he was racing here already with an old Genesis coupe on 24 hours. I remember when I was here with the other brand racing, I remember the Schumann team here racing a Hyundai coupe, yeah, like more than 10 years ago. He was already doing that. So, and in 14 we built the test center, and we have been doing durability testing here before already. We do this for quite some time, and we are still running the 10,000 kilometers on the Nordschleife with professional drivers on the Hyundai cars, also Kia cars, Genesis. So, and I don't think there's any other OEM who still does the 10,000. We still do the 10,000 green hell with really fast drivers, and that's our routine. And of course, when we start developing N cars, I mean, it was a natural thing to do a lot of work out of our test center here in Nürburgring. And so this is basically the place where we put a lot of development into the N cars. It all starts out of Namyang, but at some point then, when the basics are like figured out, and then we come here and we do all the tunings here. Yeah. And for us, this is our kind of living room. Right? Our cars, I mean, they know the area very well. Our i30N, he got tons of lap on the Nürburgring, not only for durability, also for a lot of tuning. Like when the aero setup, the aero balance, we have probably the most fancy wind tunnel money can buy, and you get all the data, and you get the recommendations for aerodynamic efficiencies and everything. But the final decision we make in Schwedenkreuz, yeah, where on Friday our driver lost a little bit of talent and the road, but those are the corners where finally we decide about the aero balance, that the not so professional driver can still feel comfortable in that high speed corner when you go over that little crest and the car becomes light and you want to plant it back and feel safe and not like scared, like ooh, and you get the heartbeat because you are scared. We want the heartbeat because you have fun, right? This is why we are here.
Which reminds me, we just drove the i30 N 2 days ago for like an hour, so not a lot of experience, but we gave it our best. Some roads around here. I'm wondering what aspect of that car are you most proud of? Because we were talking about, you know, steering, brakes, engine, all the balance of the chassis, and I'm just curious, what's your favorite attribute of the car?
I think it's the balance of the car and the scope that this car can deliver. Yeah, from being acceptable for everyday driving and putting it out in the Nordschleife and to be a very enjoyable car there. Then range. That is, I think, the biggest achievement of that car.
Right.
There's not many out there for that reasonable cost where you can get so much fun and everyday driving sports car. So I think that is the fundamental strengths of an N car. And the Veloster is the same.
Yeah, well, so now that we've had the Veloster in the U.S. for a while, the N Veloster, it's starting to sort of be established as a brand, as a nameplate. Who are you finding is the customer for that car? Is it a legacy customer from Hyundai who's moving up? Is it somebody you're taking from another brand? Is it somebody who's just getting involved in sporty cars for the first time?
I think just guys who reasonable guys who have only a limited budget and want tons of fun in a car. And if it's a former Veloster driver or whatever brand's driver, the guys who love driving, fully involving in the driving, manual shifting, tight in the car, and feel everything, every aspect of driving performance, driving dynamics. Those guys who appreciate a well-balanced car in every day and going on a track sometimes. Word of mouth will work. So many cars coming here, our performance blue cars, when there's a tourist driving, for the tourist driving on the Nordschleife. So our performance blue cars, they're very, very well known in this area now. And when you make it here, then you made it.
Well, and you mentioned track driving, and that's something we discussed with your colleague yesterday. 10 years ago, there wasn't a manufacturer out there that would tell you on the record that yes, it's okay to take our car to a track. They were terrified of the liability, of the performance ramifications. But now I can walk into any one of a dozen dealerships and buy a car with a track setup, with data acquisition, with a track mode like the Veloster does, or track tires. What changed? Was it guys like you pressuring the executives to let them know that there are enthusiasts out there that enjoy this?
Yeah, I mean, that was the whole idea, to bring more emotion and excitement to the Hyundai brand with the sub-label N. And I mean, being here already, testing in the Green Hell, being established here for already quite some time in Nürburgring area, it was not a big stretch to say N is not only Namyang, it's also Nürburgring. So I said that immediately. Okay, Namyang is great, but I mean, since we have all these facilities, why not Nürburgring? And I said, oh yeah, good idea. It's also Nürburgring. And we built the first car in Nozovice in Czechia, and they say, hey, N is Namyang, Nürburgring, and Nozovice, right? And they are so proud of this car. You cannot believe. I was in the factory just last Tuesday, and I mean, they love the N, right? They built their 3 millionth car. I said, oh, by the way, it was an i30N. So, no, I mean, I had a lot of freedom to direct N, and not only the technology part, also the way we go out there. In the beginning, now we have an N division and so on. When we started, we didn't have that so much. So, and yeah, to set that up and to bring the car together with what you are talking about, what you are advertising, that is important. With these customers, you have to be honest, because they figure out immediately if this is just a pretender or the real thing. The guys who come here in the tourist traffic driving on the Nordschleife, you die in 1 week or you make it, and so the pretenders, we will not see out here so many. The real car with substance, they are out here. And that is true substance. And that is one of the three pillars of N cars, the racetrack capability. And that gives the substance to the car. The cooling, the brakes, all the good feedback. That's important. And that makes a difference between a pretender and a true high performance car.
With
Go ahead.
with all of the high level of competition in the hot hatch segment, like Civic Type R, Renault Sport Megane, they're trying to break records, every day that are faster than sports cars were 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. So, do you have expectation of breaking a Nürburgring lap record for a production car at any time?
No. For this, we developed the i30N and Veloster N TCR race car, This is the job of race cars, to make a fast lap time and to win races. And last year, in the first season, we win the World Championship in touring car. I think that statement should be clear enough to everybody. And a road car is first of all fun to drive, right? And of course, racetrack capability to enjoy it. But if I make a car for the lap time, then the aero setup would be completely different. And that makes no sense. We want young people enjoy the car, and not only very fast driving journalist or hire a race driver who is running over the curbs like a maniac with a special suspension setup just to find that other 4, 5, 6 seconds to beat some record. That's not our game. We work for customers, not for media story. And to win races and lap time making, we have the TCR. It's as easy as that.
You're doing well in TCR. Will we see Hyundai and other series in the future?
We do the rally. We're WRC, and we're doing quite well there. Hopefully this year we can make it. And the TCR works very well for us. We are preparing for eTCR with the TCR battery electric race car that will start next year. When it's not everything fully clear yet with the Eurosport organizers, but we talk a little bit here. So we are building our first car for that, and that will be an extension into touring car racing. But that's pretty much it.
Mr. Schreyer said that you needed to expand some in the U.S., and what you're talking about has no impact in the U.S. Do you have any interest in IndyCar or NASCAR?
Right now, and I think for Hyundai, we are pretty doing well. HMA has some idea to make maybe a more entry-level car for club sport or something, autocross or this kind of things. But that would be a local project, maybe with Brian Herter or something. But no, I think for now we are really fine. And of course, we will have new models coming, and then also depending on what is the period of road cars, and we might have maybe another TCR car at some point in time, and so that is, for us, it's a very good match, because the TCR race car also has a good link to the road car by regulation, and I think the strength of the race car also goes back to some point to the strength of the road car, right? And that is important, that link.
So going back to the road cars for a second, you mentioned balance and enjoyment and feedback. Yesterday we talked a lot about alternative powertrains and the future of performance, electrification, and all that. And obviously you have the partnership now with Rimac. I don't know if that's only for eTCR technology for now, or if it's going to filter down to road cars soon enough. But the moment you add the electrification, that adds weight, and what I see in the industry now is how companies balance out that weight is more complication. Let's say, four-wheel steering and super sophisticated suspension systems, which again just adds weight. So it's kind of a chain reaction. Mm. So how do you see the balance there? Because electrification is coming, that's for sure. Mm. But how do you do it smart in a smaller car?
Yeah, I think first of all, we need to prepare for a time where by regulation laws we cannot put the the traditional race cars out anymore. So we have to do something to keep racing, right? That is job number one. And and we are preparing for that. But with like a battery electric race car, I mean, you can really go into the city and make a great show. And with TCR cars, I mean, you saw the WTCR, right?
Yeah.
You can give a show if it's battery electric or not. Okay, the sound is there, but I think our touring car racing, you know, this is true racing, you know, fighting like crazy. And that also goes with battery electric. You know, that's true racing, very robust cars. And so I'm quite optimistic that those races will also be very enjoyable. You know, so we need to go into this. We need to start our car. We'll run this year for the first time, and then let's see how we can move on with ETCR. So, but we want to support ETCR. That clearly, you know, we made that commitment, and let's see how much fun we can squeeze out of battery electric racing.
Hyundai is making a lot of very powerful statements here, and just having a presence with the fans. And the one that struck me the most is the archway at the exit of pit lane is Hyundai N themed. So you've got 600 or so odd drivers here, many of whom are team owners and rich people, and the last thing they see before they hit the racetrack is some very powerful Hyundai branding, and that's pretty bold. What does that look like next? What's the result of that branding next year? You walk out in the fan areas, you still see people holding up Porsche and BMW and Audi flags. Are you expecting more Hyundai fans next year or in 5 years? What's the push for existing in the marketplace of the fan with this project?
Our N community is growing fast, and now globally. We invited also customers from US, from Canada, Spain, Russia, from all kind of countries. So and in some markets it's just started. You know, Russia, they got their i30Ns just a month ago.
Wow.
So the N story is just started there. And other markets, some markets not even yet started. So we are still in ramping up. And of course we have more mature markets like Germany or UK and so on. But even US, we're just starting. I mean, we had some little delays. And we still can't get enough Velosters into the US in a fast time. So we already have some waiting list, and I see dealers selling the Velosters for like $50,000, and stuff like this. And we don't like to see that, but okay, I mean, that's not, you can't avoid that, right? If you have a hot car, then it just happens, right? So, and I think it will naturally grow. We will, if the weather is like this, we will probably see more enthusiasts in the 24 hours next year than this year. And I mean, I don't know if we can keep this level of sponsoring and invitations like forever. But for now, I mean, we also want to appreciate our customers, our enthusiasts, and invite them and bring them to the cradle of N and show them what is that Nürburgring. We did the Corso yesterday, so we had I don't know how many cars, how many people. Many cars had 4 people in the car, and we drove 1 lap 2 hours before the race around the Nordschleife. So they get an idea about this track and this racing, and so I think now they get an understanding. Okay, they're racing in this crazy race with a Hyundai, with my car. Yeah, so that gives them also a lot of pride. Yeah, and they have a substantial car, and I think they take home a good story, a good excitement, good time. Yeah, and that's important to enjoy. And we try. To give them good enjoyment.
So when your team a few years from now, develops a standalone N car, it's not going to be a mid-engine supercar, but what should it be when you're moving past hatchbacks and tuning your regular cars?
You know, I mean, we have no plan to mass produce now a standalone N car. Yeah, and N is a sub-label of Hyundai, and my definition of a high-performance car is that is the magic of a high-performance car, different from a sports car. A sports car is a sports car by nature, but a high-performance car is derived from a mass production car, and you make it performing like a sports car, but still looking a little bit like normal car, a little bit the wolf in the sheep, right?
Yeah.
Felt, and that's the idea of a high-performance car. So, and that works fine for me. And if you have a little bit of freedom and a little bit of budget, I mean, you can do that exercise. Okay, there's some limitation, but you know, there are good sports cars out there, but also many sports cars that are not so good. And when it comes to fun to drive, oh yeah, we can battle with sports cars, no problem.
A Genesis sports car.
But we still have the utility in our cars, you know, which is also important. I mean, we don't have that customers where their number 4 or 3 car is an i30N, I think. Many of the young people, they're happy they can afford an i30N or a Veloster N, and that's their only car. And this is our customers, and that's our job to do. And not go crazy and make the car too expensive. I mean, on the Veloster N, on the i30N, you don't find the fancy Rambo brakes or the Recaro seats or something. That has a reason, to keep the cost down, the price down in the marketplace. For the kids who want to have fun. Of course, it's a lot easier to put big Rambo brakes in there, but we take our own brakes from a bigger car and get it going. And so the cost can be lower, and we are in a spot for the people who love driving. And so I always said, like, there's nothing out there where a fun per dollar is better than in the Veloster N. That's the job to do. Fun per dollar.
Ionic N?
Ionic.
Ionic N?
Ionic N. Yeah. We had already a concept car in Hachi. Maybe you heard about it in our US tech office. They made a fancy Ionic. They tuned it a little bit, did some autocross or something. I don't know.
Yeah, they do an Optima Ultimate Street car with it.
And we also have a concept car in Namyang, tuned Ionic. I wouldn't call it an N, but we are testing the waters. Yeah. So
maybe it'd be a connection between the road and the ETCR or something.
Yeah, I mean, sooner or later there will be a battery electric N. It's just a matter of time. But then there is a time maybe when that is even over, and then there will probably be a fuel cell electric N. That depends. If we keep in small segments, then maybe battery electric is still the right way to go. When we talk a little bit bigger cars, SUVs, then at some point you better go fuel cell electric. With our next generation, I think cost can come down, efficiency, everything is better. We can scale up more volume, and then with a bigger car, I think we can beat the battery electric with our fuel cell technology.
Not many companies are still talking fuel cells. Compared to 5 years ago, everybody was talking about it.
Yeah.
Now Hyundai is one of the few that still.
Yeah, but this will change again. Many of those who go away are already coming back.
How do you clear the delivery hurdle? Infrastructure.
Yeah, it will not so much start off out of passenger car. It will be driven out of commercial. Yeah. And for the commercial, it's easier to set up hydrogen fuel station if you have a fleet, light commercial vehicle, taxi, shuttle bus. If you have a fleet of fuel cell cars, we will set up a pilot project. It's more than a pilot project. We have a MOU with a consortium in Switzerland for 1,600 fuel cell trucks for Switzerland. Already the business case is there, because in Switzerland you have to pay a lot of toll for using the road tunnels. And they find a consortium where they have green hydrogen from water power. And they can get the power to make the electrolysis supported by the government. They don't have to pay the grid fee, basically. They found that agreement. And so we are building now our first fuel cell truck for Switzerland. It will be ready in September or so. And we start testing then, and then we will ship 1,600 fuel cell trucks into Switzerland. And there's already the business case, because those trucks, they're clean, they don't need to pay any road toll.
These are big trucks.
Yeah, big trucks. Yeah. So, and I mean, we have so many requests right now, you cannot believe. Yeah, for hydrogen, for all kind of applications, not only vehicles, all kind of things. Yeah, because now, not so much in the US, but in Europe now, and in many other areas, CO2 really is taken seriously. Yeah, to make the 2050 target, and maybe also in California, a few people care. I don't know so much, but and it's going to happen. And now people start thinking, and how can we get there? And you cannot avoid hydrogen technology to go there. And now more and more people understand that. And why wait? I mean, we are moving. We are doubling already our production capacity. We are building a second factory now, and we will scale up a lot.
So, when it comes to sporty cars, we talk about N now, but I'm also curious about Genesis for at least a question. The G70 is a really good sports sedan, but I'm just wondering, what's the plan there? How far can you go with Genesis, that platform, the whole deal?
Yeah, I mean, I think where we put the G70 now, it's already a good spot. I mean, we have different level of performance for that car. I think the 2-liter with the manual transmission was a nice car. I don't know how is it doing in the US. That was a nice idea to make it a little bit affordable, but put the good stuff in there, right? And the V6, yeah, with the limited slip all-wheel drive, the drift machine, this kind of thing, I think is good enough for now.
We broke the 3 million production in May, Czech.
In the Czech factory, yeah. No, I mean, with Genesis, I think we're in a good way. Now we are bringing new models, so G80 coming, and we are working on an SUV, as you know. So, but Genesis is a luxury brand. It's it's a little bit different story.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go ahead, Brett.
No, I'm good.
You came from an established brand to a...
Maybe last question.
Yeah. Has this, now that you've been here for a few years, have your expectations been met of... I'm sure your early days here, you had expectations, you had plans, but coming from an established brand to a growing brand, you knew there was going to be transitions. Is this exceeding your wildest expectations to see this brand you're building at the Nürburgring with 7-year-old kids wearing your shirts, or is this all exactly where you thought you would be? Or?
Pretty much.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I mean, would I bet on it? I mean, you have to see the situation of our company. We have done this before, but there was a lot of confidence to have the confidence to go this way, and I could take the leadership in this. And once I saw the confidence is there and we can do this, and in Hyundai Germany, I found the good partners to work with to start here out of Germany. And once that was out, and we had some pre-drivings with proto cars and so on, and I saw the very competent media guys when we showed them the car, I could see their smile, and then I could easily anticipate this is gonna work. So when the fun story, when the people who were working for N were saying, okay, we put cars out on the internet for €1,000 down, we will put 100 cars out there. Of course, there have been people in the organization to say, forget it, you will not sell cars. And they were gone in 40 hours. You know? And then they drank champagne. Even the people who doubted it. So it happened in Germany, it happened in UK, in Australia, it happened everywhere. The magic of N. It just changed the whole thing. The organization also, it gave them so much pride, excitement. Yeah, the way they interact with customers has fully changed. They make events, yeah, Hyundai Germany, UK, yeah, Italy, invite the enthusiasts, they make drive events, track days. Our sales organization, they haven't done such kind of things before. So they also take many lessons from this N sub-label. And it creates a lot of power in our company.
Well, it's fun to watch. It really, you know, as an observer, it's fun to watch. And the cars are great, and it's fun to see people react to them.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm wearing your shirt. So
I'm coming to Nürburgring for quite some time, and you cannot believe how many people from the industry come to me and say, "How could that happen? What's going on?" Yeah, they cannot believe what happened with N. Yeah. But to me, it's no surprise. Yeah, but yeah, the substance. You have to be authentic. You have to be honest with your customers, and then it can happen.
You have lots of these kind of T-shirts at the headquarters. Nobody wear the other brands or our T-shirts, but N guys always there wear their T-shirts, which shows they have pride.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was the last.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.